Hi everyone. All right, today I'm going to do a short video on how you can recognize that Spirit is speaking to you and wanting to work with you in a more conscious way on the day today. Things we may not even have thought about in how Spirit will start communicating with us. Now remember, Spirit is always wanting to work with us. But the thing is, remember, we have been so used to collectively working down here in 3D that we're not vibrating in the way that we can to be fully connected day to day to see the signs and messages that Spirit brings us. Now, here's the thing. A lot of us, as we go through this journey, are waiting for the big signs and the big shifts and changes, the big things in our lives. Well, guess what? Spirit helps us with the day-to-day too, and I want you to be aware of that today. And I'm going to give you a couple examples from my journey and give you two things that you can start thinking about with respect to how Spirit works for you. When we are more connected, conscious, aware, trusting, confident, we heal. All the work that we're doing in spiritual awakening, what happens is it helps us then connect in day-to-day so that Spirit can flow into us to help us in our day-to-day to make our lives more smooth and become more aware of things that we need to shift and change. Now, the first one is kind of interesting because it's our day-to-day schedules, our day-to-day way of thinking that our life has to be, that we have scheduled out each day. It's those daily frustrations that show up, that take us off our game, where if we are willing to look at that frustration without getting human, we are going to see some learning in it, because it may be the next thing it's showing us that is the thing we're meant to be aware of. And again, like I said, I'm going to give you some examples of this. But it's very much being attuned to our day-to-day and opening up to the idea that Spirit is going to insert itself in ways that help us flow through our day-to-day if we just understand it. Instead of being in that human space of like, oh, that's just a big frustration. Why did that happen? And then leaving and being mad and angry and having to clean up the mess, right? Not understanding where it's coming from. So again, daily frustrations, schedule changes, cancellations, whatever that means. It could potentially be stuck in traffic. It could be there's certain things that will happen in our day-to-day that if they don't fit into our schedule, in our plan, they feel really icky. But oftentimes, Spirit will use that to get to us for certain reasons. Now, I'm going to use me as my example. I have a lot of examples on this, but it goes back to really shoring up your foundation. In December, that was the theme. Well, for me in general, for quite some time, but really came home in December, of my home is my foundation. So I have my business based out of here. It's just me. I'm the one that takes care of my house. It's also very much an energetic space that I work within with clients. So it has to be in a place of being able to be stable and energetically viable for me in all ways, as well as safe in the human context of understanding what safe is for us in a human living arrangement, right? So here's an example of what happened with me the other day. So what's happened with me a lot lately, how Spirit is working with me, is helping me shore up some of the things in my house. And now I've started to see the patterns because they've been repeated of little things that I either forgot about, didn't think about, ignored, that have now become made very aware to me through signs and messages. All right, here's what happened to me the other day. And this seems minor, but it's a great example of the things that have been happening. And some of them have been very big, like needing to replace a furnace. That's a whole nother story, but it's part of this journey. So what happened with me the other day is I went down just to do a load of laundry in my front load washer. I go to throw the laundry in, I go back up, do my thing, come back down, go to pull out the laundry. There's glass everywhere. Glass, shards of glass in my washer. What happened next was so interesting. And that's never happened before. Why in the world would a glass jar? Well, yes, I was taking it down to recycling. I had set it in with the laundry. Nope, forgot to take it out, tossed all the laundry in with the glass jar. And before I know it, I am cleaning up glass shards in my washer. However, as I'm doing this, I look at my washer and I realize on the inner parts, I haven't cleaned the gasket. If any of you have loaders, you know what I'm talking about. I haven't cleaned the gasket in some time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is, well, I'm sorry, kind of disgusting, right? So those front loaders, as you know, if you don't clean them out regularly, which had probably been a couple months. And so I immediately got the glass out, cleaned everything up, got it brand sparkling new. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I would forgotten this for months probably to come, until it was probably in such a state that really would have been an issue, right? Needless to say, the glass jar breaking in there led me to the cleaning out of all of the washer. I've had many other things like this with the furnace that needed to be replaced. It was working fine, but one thing led to another, to another, to another, to help me understand that, oh yes, I remember a year ago when the furnace maintenance man said to me, they don't make parts for this furnace anymore. It's a fantastic furnace, but someday it's just going to fall flat on its face. This then encouraged me, as I got the same communication from another maintenance man, to replace the furnace before it fell flat on its face, which then, by them coming, there were two other things that one thing led to another to assist me with. I have another example of this, where I was backing out of my garage one day as the garage door is moving up across the tracks. And I'm backing out. I look over my shoulder to back out, and all of a sudden, Spirit takes me. You know how they can direct your attention. Spirit takes me to look at the track, and I see two bolts getting ready to pop out. Okay? I'm like, oh my gosh. That stopped me in my tracks. I ended up getting my garage door replaced as a result of this. So I've been shoring up my foundation the last couple of years, right? Like fixing things that may need to be fixed. But the point being is Spirit will help you day to day in things. And in this case, it helped me not have a garage door completely fall off its tracks and be extremely dangerous. So needless to say, as we become more conscious, we become more aware, we trust in this journey, we do our healing work, we commit, we change vibrationally, we become more aware, and Spirit is able to get to us to help us understand this, and we're not just in our tunnel vision of our day-to-day human 3D life. All right, so that's one of the first things. Daily frustrations, your schedule changes, cancellations. Now don't just look at it as an irritant. Look at, what is this teaching me? What else is this showing me? All right, the next thing is, how do you feel? All right, we really have to tap into our feelings. If you start feeling discomfort outside of the comfort that you're typically in when you create flow in your journey and you're in that pretty much stable place day to day, when something happens and you consistently feel as a pattern, when that thing keeps coming up, discomfort, you have a feeling that's just icky and doesn't feel good for you, whether it's something you have said, done, the way you behaved, that's something to look at. And I'm going to give you an example, because what will happen is if you ignore that feeling and you keep having it over and over again, let's say with the same person or the same situation, eventually that's going to come up to be made aware to you, because the initial sign for you is, this doesn't feel good. This doesn't feel right. It feels icky, and it's there. Well, our feelings are one of our clues. This is the way Spirit gets to us, right? We're becoming more aware and becoming more in alignment and becoming more available to the kinds of signs and messages that we never were before. We just ignored those feelings in the past, right? And just dug our head in and plowed forward. Nope, we can't do that anymore. Or we can do that, but it's going to come back and bite us, which is exactly what happened with me in the example I'm going to give, of ignoring my feeling of a pattern when I would behave a certain way, and then I would just move on my journey rather than digging deep into it. So I had a friend this morning who said to me, we're very close. We're on this journey together. She's got her own business too, so do I. So we talk a lot about our spiritual journey. Anyway, the point is she finally said to me, you know, there's a topic that comes up on occasion where you react the same way to me and it doesn't feel good. In fact, it's hard for me. And I'm like, oh, wow. I knew what it was. I said, no, I know. I know exactly what you're talking about, but I've chosen to ignore it. And I've chosen to move on my way instead of learn from it and heal that part of me that is not behaving well with you. And I get triggered, I react a certain way, and I keep doing the same thing when that topic comes up. And I said to her, the interesting thing is, thank you for this, because I know this, and yet I've chosen to turn a blind eye to the understanding. And now what Spirit had to do is bring it back to me in the form of you saying, I don't feel good, and this has gone on too long. So I said, thank you, and I'm sorry, and I'm very aware of this, and I'm going to dig deeper, and this is the key. I'm going to dig deeper into why this is happening. Now, I have a lot of past lives affecting me, And, that could sound like an excuse, like I'm not owning it, but I am owning it because we have to own our past lives too. I am very clued in on my past lives and things that trigger me as a result of that. And the biggest part of my journey this time around has less to do with inner child, current incarnation, has a ton to do with past lives. And in this case, in how I behaved. And this is coming through in this relationship. All right. So I'm aware of this, but I haven't done the deep digging. I kind of go, oh, I'll do that someday. But I keep reacting the same way, right? So I get this information from her, and now today I am in full-on awareness of what I have done. Spirit has brought me over and over again this feeling inside myself of this, ooh, that's icky when I behave that way. Ooh, that's icky. And then I just go on my day. No, we cannot do that. That is here for our learning. Repeated patterns of how we feel, okay, tied to feeling uncomfortable, discomfort, icky in my terms. And we are supposed to then learn from it, just like we're supposed to learn from the interruptions of our day-to-day. These little things that may happen where we just think they're nothing or they're just irritants. Oh no, that's how spirit can get to us lots of times and go, nah, we're going to disrupt this in order for you to learn this. But we have to be made aware. And ultimately what happens then is we create this flow of spirit and us in our day-to-day of helping us understand, weaving through our journey day-to-day, if we're aware, if we're conscious, if we allow that kind of flow into our journey. So I hope this has helped you today. Take a couple things that I have learned very specifically over the course of the last couple of months to help you along your journey of awareness as well. So again, like I said, take what resonates, toss the rest aside. What I try to do is give you examples from my journey, things that I've learned so that hopefully you can learn your lessons sooner and not have to go through some of the painful things I've had to go through with respect to that. So again, allowing those daily distractions to maybe be lessons in learning and understanding, like what's this telling me? For me, it was safety in my home and really shoring up my foundation in my home. And it's amazing how spirit works. And then the other part is my behavior with a good friend, right? And the triggering and what's that teaching me and what part there do I still need to heal? And so I'm now working on that. So hopefully this will save you some, I guess I'll just say, difficult times and or help you make you aware of things that have happened in the past or that are currently ongoing or that may happen in the future. So thank you so much for joining me. I'll leave with my services, purplerainhealing.com, where you can see all of my services from one-on-one mentoring for spiritual awakening to all the channeled services that I offer to help you along your awakening journey. Past, present, future, we deal with all of that. And I also do distance energy healing. So check it out, purplerainhealing.com. I'm going to do another video coming up here shortly on the bigger picture understanding of awakening, ascension, and abundance. And I'm going to draw you a map because I've been given a lot of information lately of the big picture of our journey. And I think it helps us understand as we see not just the disparate pieces, which I do talk a lot about in my videos, but how they all fit together and the big understanding. And we have a really nice metaphor for you to take. So that hopefully will be my next video as I get the map all drawn out for you that I'm going to share with you as well. Again, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have taken something away from this video. And again, I'll see you in the next video.